Are you 55 and older and thinking of relocating, whether from out of state or just into a smaller home, right sizing your home? Stick around, because this video I'm getting into the nitty-gritty on all the questions that you've been Googling. So let's get started. Thanks so much for sticking around, friends. My name is Nicole Smith. In case this is your first time seeing me here, I'm a realtor here in Metro Jacksonville, Florida. And I love helping people over the age of 55 find their forever home. So before we get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Any support you can give me is really, really appreciated. It gets other people to see this video, and I know there's a lot of people out there researching Northeast Florida in particular. And if you are considering making a move, make sure you put next chapter down in the comments so I can see who's actually watching my video. So I've been living in the Metro Jacksonville area since 2014, and now I'm approaching 55. I have toured so many of these communities that I'm going to be talking about today. So if you haven't been following me, maybe you should go take a look at my library, because I have definitely toured a lot of them, and I think you'll get some great insight. But most importantly, I would love the opportunity to tour them with you. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So today, this video is going to be for you if you are 55 and older, if you're considering making a move to Northeast Florida, if you're considering downsizing from a larger home, if you own a home elsewhere and you're wondering how that will actually work, stick around. If you're a snowbird and you've been living here part-time and you're considering making Florida your permanent residence, stick around. And if you have toured any of these communities online, make sure you stick around, because you're going to get a lot of insight from me here today. So this video is for you, and I'm excited to share it with you, because I feel like the more you know, the better you are going to be able to make a decision. So in Northeast Florida, we have over 22 active 55 and over communities, and that's all the way from Fernandina to Palm Coast, and that is quite a selection. Our average 55 and over community here is between 392,000 and 445,000, and the majority, 60% or more active in this community will actually pay cash for their property. So this is some really great stats for you. And the number one question that you are Googling right now is, what is a 55 and up community and how does it actually work? So an active adult living community, it's an age restricted community. It is a residential neighborhood legally designated for 55 and over community, and that's under the Federal Housing for Older Persons Act on HOPA. So at least 80% of the occupied units must have at least one person living in there under the age of 55. The remaining 20% can be younger. So there is a bracket of individuals that could possibly be under 55, but you would have to know by each community how that actually works. So a 55 up community is also known as an active adult community. It's an age restricted community. And for example, if you were 52 and your spouse was 57, this is a community you would qualify to live in. So this is merely one person in this marriage or this union, whether you're two sisters, cousins, friends, it doesn't matter. One of you has to be over 55. Now, how do you get actually one of these communities? It depends on the community, but typically this is what you'll get. Typically you'll get a clubhouse, you'll get a resort style pools and amenities. Sometimes there's more than one. Oftentimes you're going to have pickleball courts, because that is one of the biggest crazes here. Some of these communities will also have the maintenance of the outside and the grass, lawn care taken care of with the HOA, but this is not for every community, so we'll have to look at those if that is very important to you. And oftentimes these communities are gated, so that's another level of security and privacy that you'll be receiving. A lot of people absolutely love living in these communities because they get a sense of neighborhood. They are really active. They get to know their neighbors. They plan social events together. They go on outings together. And there's an event coordinator within the community that organizes a calendar, so you can participate as much as you want or as little as you want. So if one of you, if you're in a couple relationship, loves to do activities and the other one doesn't, it's a perfect opportunity to live in a community like this, because you can go out and have fun with your neighbors, your friends, and your other partner doesn't have to be there, and they're not going to feel, like they're neglecting you or whatever, because it's all within the community. So it's a win-win situation, and I think it's a great place to just live like you're on vacation for the rest of your life. I highly recommend a 55 and over community. And when you go there, you truly do feel like you're in a resort. I think it's great. And pickleball is one of the biggest crazes right now. Also, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mahjong, but that's also a craze going on. So you can get a whole bunch of games if you like to play cards, or they even have bocce ball often at some of these places. So I think that amenities are important, but let me know in the comments. Put the word amenities in the comment section and let me know how important amenities are to you. So the second question that always gets asked here is, what are the best 55 communities in the Northeast Florida area? And what do they cost? Well, let me just highlight a few. I can't talk about all of them today because there's too many. But in the Fernandina Beach area, there is Del Webb Wildlight. And Wildlight is a planned community really, really close to major highways and all the amenities that you would need as far as doctors and grocery stores and restaurants. Everything is close by there. And Del Webb is a well-known community for building for 55 and over. So they're building, and you can get some really beautiful new construction homes in there. I highly recommend them. There is other videos I've done on Wildlight, but not in the Del Webb area, but at least you can get a sense of where it is. If you want to go check that video out, you'll see that in my library. And if that's something you want to see, let me know, and I'll go do a tour of their model homes. So inside the Jacksonville area, we have E-Town by Del Webb. We also have Everlake in Mandarin, and then we have the Freedom at Arbor Mill. So all these have different variations of pricing. The Del Webb in E-Town's probably the more expensive one. They're around $492,000 there. In Everlake, they're villas. So that's one wall shared, two separate homes with double car garages. Those are in the 300,000s, and that's in the heart of Mandarin, which is a really, really lovely community here. And then the Freedom at Arbor Mill is their median price is about $360,000, and that is a great option for you. I think a lot of these homes are already built. There's not too much new construction going on. There may be a few left in Everlake, which is probably one of the newer ones. E-Town is sold out, so if you're buying in there, it's going to be resale. Now let's move on to St. Johns County. Now St. Johns County is the number one sought off county here in the Metro Jacksonville area because they have the highest school district. A lot of families, when they relocate here, they're looking for that school district, but a lot of the other ones around are actually moving on up. So it may be something to consider if you're wanting to be close to your grandchildren. You're going to consider the St. Johns County area. But overall, you're going to have choices, and it's all based on obviously what you're looking for as far as the amenities and the price that you're willing to pay. If you move slightly south, and we're going into the St. Augustine area, and in this area, you're going to have a lot of history. If you're not familiar with St. Augustine, there are some areas that are brand new that are on the outskirts of the downtown, but the downtown area in St. Augustine is very historic. It's the oldest city in the entire United States of America, and it is very charming, and there's a lot of great activities to do, and restaurants and shopping, and you name it, you can find it in downtown St. Augustine. Very, very charming there. The average household income, median price here in this part of Florida is, let's say, average is 426,000, but they range from the Bridge Bay at Bannon Lakes, average is 497, so it's a little higher. And Parkland Preserve is about 422. Reverie at Trailmark is in 412, and Summers Bay at Grand Oaks is around 320. And then Cascades, which is an older community, there's about 450 homes in there, and it's in the World Golf Village. It is a gated community, and it has 22,000 square feet of clubhouse, and it's a resale community. So a lot of people like to live there because it's well established. But Reverie at Trailmark, I have done some videos there, so go check that out. They have a lakeside clubhouse, they have a beer garden, they have resort pool, they have a whole bunch of amenities. So that is definitely a really, really cool one. And the Cascades, like I said, is all resale. So you want a little bit older established community, you would go into the Cascades, and they're pretty well pricing the same as a new construction. So it just depends on what you're looking for. So down in Palm Coast, they have the Freedom Sawmill branch. They have the Reverie at Palm Coast, but Palm Coast definitely is up and coming. A lot of the builders are moving and getting their permits down there. So I know that area is starting to boom. The next question, what are the HOA fees like, and what do I watch out for? Okay. HOAs, they're going to be in every community when it comes to 55 and over. Some will cover your water in the outside gardening area. Some will cover maintenance of your property. Some will cover all the maintenance of the lawns, and that is great. And some of them, it's all because of the event coordinator. So you're going to have to pay a little more sometimes, but each one, we are going to break it down. So typically they're between $200 and $500 in a regular home. If you're looking for a 55 and over community for condos, those ones might be a little more expensive, and the closer you are to the beach, they're going to be even more expensive. So they can be between $500 to $800 or $1,000 plus if you're close to the ocean. And a lot of the fees in Florida have risen due to the new safety inspections and the higher insurance requirements. So this means that because of some very sad circumstances that happened down in Surfside, Florida, the laws are now stricter. You have to get an evaluation done. Some of the condos had to take out special assessments. If there were 3 stories or higher, they had to do a very strict research on the quality and the construction, and if they had to change and modify things to make them safer, then there could have been some very expensive assessments taking place. But we can research that as we go, and that is something not to deter you from condos. You just have to get the research, and now the laws require them to put out a lot of their budget online, so we have full access of how healthy they are as a community and what their reserves look like. And that is a very important question you need to know, so you know if you're going to be hit with any type of special assessment, or if they've already done a lot of those special assessment fees. And there are communities that, there could be a CDD, which is the Community Development District fee. So that will be attached to your taxes as well. So we're going to have to always look at the bottom line when it comes to your financial situation and add those all up. Whether you're getting the mortgage, your HOA, your CDD, your insurance, we have to add them all up and see what your budget is going to look like. And that's something we can do. You could also contact a financial advisor and find out what they would recommend for you as far as your budget. The next question that's asked is about the homeowner's insurance here in Florida. And yes, it has been a little bit tricky in the last few years. Currently, the Florida insurance is stabilizing. So the average annual homeowner's insurance premium is $3,748. It is stabilizing with only a 1.5 increase in 2025. We also have Citizens Property Insurance, which is a state-backed insurer, And that has come down a 50% reduction in 14-year lows. So that is great news happening here with that insurance. And then of course, private insurance market is also stabilizing, and some insurers have filed for decreases in 2026. So that is really good news. And insurance for typical home in the area, you might budget between $3,000 and $6,000 for homeowners insurance. Of course, it depends on your location. The closer you are to the ocean or waterways, it could go up. But if you're considering new construction, that is actually a good thing because your insurance will be lower for new construction. And if you get a home inspection and check for wind mitigation, and most of the new construction, they're designing the new construction with hurricane insurance in mind, so you'll get a reduction for that as well. But you could always get an insurance quote before you decide to purchase a home. That is something we get our insurance companies to do for us here, so let me know what you think about that. And if you want to find out what insurance companies I recommend here in the Florida area, comment insurance and I'll get you over that list. So the next question 5 is, do I need to sell my current home first, and how does that work? This is a great question, and it is very important for my 55 and over buyers because most of you have a home, so you probably have a lot of equity. And if you have a lot of equity, then you may be in the position to pay cash, or at least majority cash. And I can walk you through that process. First, if you sell first and then buy, you would sell your home and then close on it. Then with your new home, you'll be in a really good position to either take all your equity and put it towards your new home, or take a portion of it. And I also recommend you talking to your financial advisor to see what's best for you. A lot of times, the buyers will put a majority down so that they have a lower mortgage. So it's definitely something you can consider. Now, if you want to buy first and then sell, you may be able to do that if you have a lot of equity in your home and you're getting approved with your income, depending on if you're still working or if you're fully retired. But oftentimes this is very doable, so you don't have to freak out about it. We can help you and assess every process if that's something you can do. Some people would like the next option is sell and then buy at the same time, and that's something I can definitely help you with. Oftentimes, if you're doing new construction, though, they do not take contingencies of you selling your home, so it could be tricky if you can't qualify for a new mortgage at the same time. But you could also do new construction, and that'll give you 6 to 8 months to sell your home and then move into your new home once it is completely built. This is a great option. So you are probably in the best position than any other buyer's age market right now, and you get to really make some really great decisions. And I would love to guide you through these. So make sure you reach out to me, because I'm going to leave a link below to my calendar, and we can have a chat about your situation and everything you're thinking about, wondering about, considering. I walk you through it all, and we do it together, and you're never alone. I'm going to be with you from the beginning to the end of the process, and I will be guiding you and referring you to people. If I don't have the answers to your questions, we'll find out a way to get those questions answered. Next question is, and it's sort of piggybacking on what I just said, is should I pay cash or get a mortgage? That is really your situation, depending on what you're in. If you can afford to pay it all off, go for it. It might be better to have a smaller mortgage so you can have a little bit of a tax deduction. Everybody's situation is slightly different, but we can talk with a lender simultaneously and get some insight from their perspective, as well as a financial advisor, and we can work as a team to get your questions answered based on your situation and your finances. So sometimes paying the whole thing, why not? No mortgage, there's a lot of pluses to that, but paying a financial advisor a fee to really get to the nitty-gritty is something I highly recommend. Also, my next question here is, what are new construction versus resale communities? Which is better? Well, that is a great question, because The benefits for new construction are you get to choose the finishes, the upgrades, sometimes the floor plans, and then the resale community is you get what you get. Your move-in timeline is between 6 and 12 months if you want to do a custom build. And oftentimes some of these communities have homes that are ready to sell, so you can tour which ones are available and just go with what they've selected. And they typically pick what's the most popular finishes, so it's a really great solution. Now, in a resale community, you can usually close on a house between 30 and 45 days, so that's not so bad. Your pricing for new construction is in the range between 300 and 500, but there are some luxury homes in 55 and over communities higher than that, so 700s and into the millions. It just depends on your lifestyle. And often the newer communities are giving incentives for closing costs, so there could be some great examples of that. And in the resale community, they're trying to compare to and compete with the new construction. So they're trying to really help you with some closing costs and different incentives as well. So sometimes you're picking a community because you already know people that live there, so you might go with resale. Or someone in your family lives close by and you want to be in close proximity to them. The warranties, of course, with new construction, you're going to have a builder's warranty. With a resale home, I would highly recommend getting a warranty that you can purchase, so it covers all your major expenses like all your appliances and your air conditioning systems, hot water tanks, and so on. With the community feel, you're building in a new community. Everybody's new, so they're always friendly, looking to meet new people, so it's very nice. In the established ones, you're going to have to put yourself out there and join some of the community activities so you can meet your neighbors. Now, your HOA reserves, they're brand new, so they're usually a little bit lower in the beginning. And then the older communities, you just want to do your research and make sure that they've managed their HOA well and they have reserves. Depends on you and what you want out of your community. New construction is really something I think is pretty fabulous, so I would definitely probably lean towards that, but not necessarily. Question 8 is, what should I know about healthcare near my communities? So Northeast Florida has some of the best hospital systems here. We have the Mayo Clinic, Baptist South, down closer to Palm Coast. They have Flagler Hospital and Advent Health. So there are some great options. You are probably going to be able to find a hospital within 20 minutes or less, all the way up and down the highway of I-95. You will not have a problem. But if you want me to send you a map with that, put healthcare in the comments and I'll get you a dedicated map for that area. The next question we have is question number 9. Are these communities pet friendly, and what about my grandkids and visiting? Okay, so most of these communities are absolutely pet friendly. They may have restrictions on breeds and they may have restrictions on size of the animal depending on the pound, but we could go right to them and find out these questions if you're concerned with whichever breed, or if your pet is a little larger than others. And oftentimes they'll have pet parks and trails for your pets, so you absolutely will have no problems with pets. Your grandkids, they do have availability to come and visit. Now, every community is slightly different. They may only allow a 30 to 60 day max consecutive day for 18 and younger. And some of them have restrictions of what times the children can go to the public pool area, because the people living in this community have chosen to live here because they don't want to be inundated with kids. They do often put restrictions on when they can use the amenities. And if there's a regular community attached or nearby this community and is under the same designer of the community, you can typically go to the main community with your grandkids, and there's no restrictions. But the people in the other part cannot go to the 55 and over community unless they know a resident there. So don't worry so much about your kids, but we can get those grandkids, we can get those questions answered if we find the communities you are quite interested in. It's easy to get those questions answered. The next main question we always get is, how do I start and what does the buying process look like for me? So I've done a lot of research on these communities and I highly recommend you reaching out to me. I'm going to leave a link below to my calendar We'll go and have a consultation. You're going to tell me what you're looking for, all your wants, all your needs. I'm going to listen. I'm going to take notes. The next process would be getting a community shortlist for you. I will personalize that based on what you told me, and I'm going to get the research done for you. The next part would be to go on the community tours together or virtually. Then we're going to do the fourth part, which would be the financial clarity, making sure you understand how you want to pay for this, whether you're going to have to get a mortgage, whether you're going to have to buy and sell at the same time. Of course, we're going to go over that. The next one would be finding the property. Once we find the property, we put it in an offer. I do all the negotiating for you. We do our due diligence. We apply for mortgages if that's what we're doing. We do our home inspections. We look for our insurance. And then closing day happens, you get your keys and you get to move in. And this process can take anywhere between 30 and 60 days, depending on how fast you want to get started. But the sooner we get started, the sooner you get to live this resort style, dream lifestyle that you've been dreaming about. So don't hesitate. Get into my calendar ASAP so we can get this planned out together. I absolutely think that this is a great resource for you. So make sure you like and save this video and share it with someone else that you know that might be considering making a move to a 55 and over community. I would love to be your go-to agent here in the Metro Jacksonville area, all the way from Fernandina to Palm Coast. Life is too short not to love where you're living. I'm living the dream in Metro Jacksonville, Florida, and I would love to be your realtor. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Stay safe and be blessed.